clearly been harmed by researchers, and I don't want to dismiss that, but I do want to share some tips for other researchers on way to not be unethical when you're doing your research in a company. However, I will tell you, if your boss is looking to get rid of you, they're going to do it. And a lot of companies do it without any structure or evidence-based reason. And like we saw with the Spotify CEO, for example, a couple years ago, laid off like 1 in 6 people and then was shocked that things weren't running as smoothly. So there are times when companies lay people off, and clearly we're living in one that is questionable for many reasons. But if you are doing survey research and you're not working in mergers and acquisitions, and you're not doing any of that, I've never done any of that work. If you're truly looking at employee engagement, program evaluation, etc., and you're evaluating survey data, not only do you need to remove people's names, you also need to, one, consider if there are any qualitative responses, if there are certain scenarios which would give it away, certain situations referenced, or styles of speech. In academia, we're trained to keep verbatim, word for word, and to not change the meaning of the qualitative research. But in a company, that could get somebody in trouble. So when I'm in companies, because I'm not an academic, I'm an applied psychologist, I look for themes, and I just report the theme and the percentage of people in there. I do not give direct quotes. It's an academic no-no, but these are people's jobs. The other thing that I do, and I've seen common practice, is if a group is smaller than 10, whether that's a team or a demographic, like if there are fewer than 10 women or fewer than 10 Pacific Islanders or something, I don't report them by themselves as a group, because it's just too identifiable. I remember one data set, there were literally 2 Pacific Islanders. Like, I could not report, I had to like aggregate them into a group of Asian, which, yes, I realize is, you lose some nuance there, and you don't want to assume every culture is the same, but it just puts those people at risk. So we always have to think of harm reduction when we do things like this. And I'm passionate about making people's lives not hell, and access to work, and the unwritten rules accessible, because this is people's livelihoods. Like, most of us have to work. And as a researcher, some business leaders will put you in a tough spot. Like, I actually had a situation where I reported the survey data, which the company had approved. They had signed our contract that we were not going to give them raw data. We were going to keep things confidential, etc. And one of their senior leaders wanted to walk back on that. And I told him I could not. And he kept pushing and pushing, to the point where, thankfully, my CEO stepped in and emailed him and was like, based on our contract, we already agreed that this would not be happening. And then over email, he denied that he ever asked, and like that I must have misunderstood him. But yeah, the big boss had to step in. So there are absolutely unethical researchers out there, not denying that at all. But there are also unethical leaders. And if you're working for one, this isn't really time to change jobs, but I hope that you can find a better spot.